Tafshin Pei Dalet. He said, Seidacham Shachas Amochin. We're talking about the Shvuah Shvi, the 7th week. What's happening on the 2nd week? We have two spheres coming in. We're coming into those two spheres, the Feres and Malchus, the Chaba, the Chagtam. Then it says Shisha v'arboim yom, shehem Shisha Shavuos v'arba yomim la'omer. So we're going to have some explanation on the right side. There's explanation over here. Let's do what I'm supposed to do. Let me see if I get this book up where I can see it. There we go. Where I'm supposed to do and take a look at the picture, the drawing. So this is the 7th week. This is the Leil Shisha v'arboim, he says. So we have here a double picture instead of the single lines of 4 sets, which he explained in the previous learning. That actually each one of the oros has all the other oros within it. I guess that's how these are oros. The nikud on top of the oros, let's go to the top of the column. It says Teferes and Malchus Chochma. Then it says Teferes and Malchus the Bina on the left side. Teferes and Malchus the Das in the middle. So that's the way that it always is. Then we have a Moach, and he's showing it as Ma. Ma for the first side, Ben for the second side. It's Teferes and Malchus. So the Moach that covers over the Oros is going to change, and on the right, going over to the left side at Teferes and Malchus the Bina, you're going to have the same thing again. Same thing in the middle. Now, let's look at the words that he uses here to describe this. We'll come over to the, God willing, to the other side, and we'll be able to look at it a little bit better. He says, where are these oros, these mochin, and this slomim, where are they going? They're going to Dante de Hug. Now, the problem is that I don't understand what this means. So he's Baruch Hashem, he's going to tell me over here, not that it really clicks that well. But let's see. He says all of these auras are going to go to the Dati, the Hug, the Teferes, the Shlosha Partzufi Kachav. Now, we said before, apparently, that the Chag Nai is already in there to a certain extent, so we're bringing the Shefa into these Partzufim of Keser Chachma Bina. What is it? What is the meaning? The question here is, what is the meaning of the Dati, which Dati always refers to the middle line, and we know we're dealing with middle line here because that's Teferes and Malchus. The Hug. Now, that's where it gets a little confusing for me. So it's the Hug, which is Chesed and Gevura of Teferes, of the Shlosha Partzufi Kachav. So that's where we're going. We're going to the Shlosha Partzufi Kachav. We're going to take all of that. We're going to send it over there. The call Echad Mechamesha Partzufi Chachma. We're dealing with Chachma now. Last shir or the shir before, I don't remember which. I was wondering why sometimes it's Chachma, sometimes it's Bina. It says it very simple. It says if it's coming from Abba Ve'ima Eloyan, whether it's going to be Gadlus Rishon or Sheni, it's going to go to Chachma. And if it's going to go to Yisrael Sabat Tavuna, I think he said that that's where it goes to Bina. So these are different alternative days, and I think we might have seen that yesterday. I'm not sure. Of course, we was really off balance yesterday, so I apologize. So on the 4th day, I'm not sure exactly why we went on the left line, because I haven't been following these all the way out the way he says it. But it goes to the right side and the left side of the left side is Zeranpin. Now, it gets a little bit trickier here. He says the Chitzonis of Panemius. I have no problem with that. That is, it's going both to the outside and the inside part of where the chef is supposed to go. But then he said the Panemi, which I think he means that what's going there is the Oros that we see up above. And he says because the words Partzufi, the words of Panemi Umakif refer to Oros. So at any rate, let's read it one more time and just see what it is the dati, the hug, and he's going to give an explanation what the dati, the hug, the teferes, the shlosha partzufi kochav are. We saw yesterday that kochav is what needs to be filled in order to make, I guess, all the 10 spheros. To call echad mechamesha partzufi chochma. There are 5 partzufim in chochma. I guess he means keser, not keser, or keser you could say, but Eric Anpin, Hava Ve'ima, and Zun. And he says it's on the left side. It's on the right side and the left side. And the left side, the Zer Anpin, and etc. Now, let's go over to the next part, and it says Shlosha Kli Teferes Dezah. So I find that that the kalim are all exactly the same. On the right side, it says Shlosha Kli Teferes Dezah. On the left side, it says Shlosha Kli Teferes Dezah. In the middle, it says Shlosha Kli Teferes Dezah. So I guess because we have 3 flows, 3 different sets of flows, one from Chachma, one from Bina, and one from Das, so therefore I'm not sure, but he says we're showing this as each one of them has a Kli. They're all the same kalim of its own. That's the best I could make out of that little thing there. So, and you see what the kalim look like. I think that, Rabbi Memram said, don't try to figure them out. Okay, that's what's going on here. These are the 3 kalim. They always come in 3. So, chitzon, emsoy, and panimi. I guess that's the idea there. And then where's it going to go after that? It's going to go to the malchios, v'chadamos, so once you see this language as Malchios, it's going to have all these other descriptions. I still can't remember exactly what the mus means, but at any rate, it's some formation which has some physicality to it, and mispar hashemos, and then counts behind the fashos, the neranchi. So he means the nefesh of each one of the nefesh, ruach, neshama, chaim, yechida. And where's it going to go? It's going to go back into this phrase again, the dati, the chug, the teferes, the kol pratim. So it's going to go to the middle line of the chug. So to figure out what the chug is here, the teferes, the kol pratim, of the teferes of all of the different parts, I guess it means of the Habal Chagdam, on his Karim, the El, the Yaakov, Rachel. He says it's all going to go. I probably didn't need to say that about Yaakov and Rachel. He said that it goes all the different processes that we said going to go to Yaakov and Rachel, and Yaakov and Rachel are Malchut. So all of this is going to go into Zer Anpin, the 3 kalim for it, and from the kalim, then they're going to come into the next to the Nook, to Yaakov and Rachel, he calls them. Then the bottom it says Shlosha Kli Teferes the Nook. And on the left side, Shlosha Kli Teferes the Nook, and you'll notice that they're all the same, Shlosha Kli Teferes the Nook. Okay, so let's go over to the other side of the time that we have remaining and see if we can understand something. He says, I guess we read it like this. He says, Shavuot Shvi, we'll read from the top, excuse me. Shavuot Shvi Teferes and Malchut the Chaba the Chagdam. So Shisha v'arboim yom she'em shisha shvuah. So we did that. Leil shishi v'arboim. So we have a shin yud shin tes here. We're going to look at it. There's a little bit of down below. He says gadlus sheni de'ima. So we're talking about gadlus. So therefore you're going to go to chochma, the parts of a chochma. So then you have, but this little part right here, I'm not sure that I understand. If it's going into Chochmah, but he says you have to have the concept, I guess. The Chamshech of the Bina, V'das, V'chagdam, the Ovi. So you have to have the idea that you're going to bring it not only into the parts of Chochmah, but also into the Ovi of Bina, Das. I guess the Hamshech, the Bina, V'das, V'chagdam, all of these, one side by next, are inside of each other in Ovi. Well, let's see if we can straighten out. I have this question about what the Hug, the Teferes, the Shlosha Partzufim is, the Dati, the Hug. So I'm not sure what that means. Leil Shisha v'arboim hamochim and ignaza b'leil Shisha v'arboim heim hamochim the gadlu sheni the ima. V'nimshachin the dati the chug, and they go and they hear he brings it. Nimshachin to this place. The dati the chug, the hainu the thlos pirkim the spheres the Pharis. So what is the dati the chug? He says it's the three pirkim. That's what he means by dati, I guess. The P3 pirkim the spheres the Pharis. But don't forget, there's also a Malchus going riding along with it. So we're going to send it to there. The Orach, the parts of Chabad Chagdam, the Ovi. Now, just one more time, I just really didn't make a big impression on me. He says, up at the top, he says, Hamochin and Ignasa below are the Haim, Hamochin, the Gadlu Sheni, the Iva, the Nimshachin, the Dati, the Hug, the Hainu. What does the Hadati, the Hug mean? It means the Hainu, the Tlas Pirkim, the three Pirkim of the spheros of Tiferes and Malchus. Now, I don't think that I've really thought about, I guess you could divide. There's no problem in dividing Tiferes into three parts. And he says it's the Chug, the Hainu, Letlas, Pirkim, the spheres, Tiferes and Malchus, the Orech. He says that's what the Chug means. Hainu, the Tlas, Pirkim, the spheres, Tiferes and Malchus. It doesn't click with me how this rhymes up. The Orech, the Partzufi Chabachagdam, the Ovi. So that's where it's going. And even if I didn't understand the touch between the Dati, the Hug, it's the Hug part that's got me confused. It's the Chesed and Gevurah. Is that what he means? The Haida, the Tlas, Pirkin, the Spheres, the Pharis, the Dati. So he means, I don't know what he means. But Orech, the Partzufi Chabachagdam, the parts of Chachma HaKolo, the Zer Anpen. Okay, but we're going back over here. V'chein the Nog, also the Nog. Nemshachim chelki hamochim shalom, hamalchus v'hademos, v'misbar shemas v'nefashos. Now, always has this this trail, let's so to speak, this ending, where when he mentions malchus, he doesn't just mention malchus. He doesn't say, like said, the first part he says that goes into some aspect of Zah. Over here, he says it goes to the Malchios and the Demos and the Mispar and the Shemas and the Fashos, the Spheres, the Pharis, and Malchus, the Orach, the Partzufi, Chabad, the Chagham, the Ovi, the parts of Chachma, Kol, the Nog. So bringing that out, or that word, that thought up, and I think it's because when you get to Malchus, you get more definition. And there you see that it's not just or, but it has different qualities, which he calls Malchios and Demos and Mispar Shemos and the Fashos. That's what he says. It's like a whole train. Okay, so now there's a little duplicate language here. Let me see how I can handle it, because I was having trouble reading it. So here's what we're talking about. We're going to start bringing down the Chasadim and the Gevuros, and maybe that's the chug that he's talking about, and I just can't touch it yet. Nimshach b'layil zeh. What is it? It's Netzach haprati the Chesed Shevi. So the final Chesed, which is I guess he says it's the Pharis of Malchus. The Malchus the Chesed, but this is going to go to Malchus the Chesed the Chagat. What is the Malchus of the Chesed of Chagat? So he says, Malchus the Chesed the Chagat. Let's start with the Spheres HaChesed. Shehi Mechlal Partzufi HaChagat. It's part of Chagat. Chagat the Chesed, Gevurah Tiferes. The Chagat. So let's read it without the explanation. He said, the Malchus the Chesed the Chagat the Chagat. What's the Chagat the Chagat? Malchus the Perikem Soy the Spheres HaChesed, because Chagat is the middle line, is the middle section. And Nai, he says, Malchus, the Perek Tachton, the Spheres HaChesed, so the Nai is also going to the lower part, the Zer Anpen. And then he wants to say like this, so we haven't been getting into the Dekuyos. We said, but this, what happens is it causes, so he says the Hod of that Chesed, of the seventh Chesed, Oh, the Shabbos Chesed Ashvi, the Malchus, the Gevura, the Chagat. So it's going to send it down into the Malchus of the Gevura of the middle section. Spheris of Gevura Shehi B'Klal Partzuf Yachog, the Chagat, which is the middle section of Malchus, the Perak and the Soy, the Spheris of Gevura. And then also going to go down into the 9. Malchus the Perak Tachton, the Spheris of Gevura the Zan. Now he's going to go through now and we'll read it. So he's going to say what happens. This is the Hamshacha the Chuya. So he says, so we're bringing in something new and we're pushing what's already there downwards. So this is apparently part of the sense. We should have some sense of what's going on here. The prati, the chesed, the shavi, this causes the yisod of the chesed, the shavi, to go to the malchus, the teferis, the chagat. It's going to cause it to go to the spheres of teferis, into teferis, shehi mechlal partzufi ha-chagat, which is one of the elements of chagat, chesed, gevurah, teferis, the chagat. What's chagat, the chagat? Is a malchus, a perik, and misoy, the spheres of teferis. It's also at the same time going to go to the nai. So it's going to go to the nai. Oh, we're running out of time here. The nai. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry?
Yeah, shkoyach.
Okay, yes, okay.